So I saw a TikTok the other day where someone was saying, honestly, that in the past 3 years, they've tried to make friends. And making friends as an adult is really hard. And that's because they don't know what's going on or what's in the air. But people are weird. Weird. I don't know if it's a thing of like social media or like influence from like society or just people, or it's just like people being like very superficial. But as we've just been trying to go through life, I can speak for myself personally, just going through life, I've been through kind of a lot to where I've had like several transitions within my life. And, you know, with doing that, I've had the luxury of, you know, meeting a lot of great people, but at the same time, meeting people that really didn't want to be in my life for the long run. If anything, more for what they can get out of me, or just using me for, you know, I guess friendship clout. I don't know what that is. But I did have like a few friendships this year that just kind of caught me off guard. I'm not gonna name names, but let's just say I had this friend that, should I say, gave me my first experience with jealousy and competition from women. I wouldn't say competition, but definitely with jealousy. I really have never been one to even call out jealousy or to even think about, you know, stuff like that, until I literally had this friend who took every opportunity to, one, downplay anything that I would suggest to them or any way I would help them out. Two, she brought me around her mom, and her mom is a sweetheart. But one thing I noticed was that anytime her mom would be like, oh, you know, I like your friend. Oh, she's so well trained. She's so this, she's so that. She would literally start to catch an attitude with me. And I get being possessive over your family members, but at the end of the day, like, your mom is your mom. You know, yeah, I might be around you, but it doesn't mean that I'm taking your mom away from you. But that was the first time, you know, I basically noticed her being weird towards me. And I talked to her about it, and she tried to play it off like, oh, she doesn't know what I'm talking about. The next thing was she basically tried to call me broke, which is funny because at the time I had just moved to Dallas, and let's just say I'm going through certain transitional phases in my life, which she has been through as well. But she also kind of surpassed that, which is one reason we did become friends, because I felt like we related on that. You know, I felt like I found somebody that kind of understood the phase of life I was in. And she took it upon herself to call me broke any moment she felt the need to, or while we were in front of her friends. I played it off like, oh, it was nothing, because she didn't say it to me directly. So I was like, okay, maybe it's shade. I caught the shade, but I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt because, you know, you're friends with someone, so you don't want to stir a drama where maybe there isn't any, right? So I let that slide. The next thing was she had introduced me to a few guy friends. We had gone to like an event together. If you know this, or if you know, you know, it's called Afrobeats and Happiness, and it's in Dallas. But took me to the event, met some of her friends, and one of her guy friends tried to talk to me. As soon as this happened, this girl got so freaking weird. I literally started getting the vibe of, oh, you like him, and you're not saying anything about it, but you're offended that he's trying to talk to me, which was disgusting. The mistake I made was I feel like I got too close to her a bit too fast. Give me a moment, guys. Get up on some. Don't really feel like it. But because it is blonde hair, I don't want to stain it, so I'm gonna back. So this is just how we're doing it. I don't know. Sorry, I had to wash my hands. I'm just gonna go over perimeter. Okay. So I'm gonna use now that I've done that. I'm gonna go ahead and cover everything. I physically cannot do my base first. A lot of people you should do. But yeah, I feel like I got to her a bit too close, too fast. But the thing about me, I'm one of those people that, you know, I feel like if I'm friends with you, like I'm comfortable with you, and I trust you, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt before anything. But this is one situation that I realized I probably shouldn't have been as trusting. So now I'm gonna go and do it. So I did that. So I feel like I got too close to her too fast. That being said, the mistake I made was that, you know, the first time we met, this was when our first interaction, she actually said she doesn't do competition. And in my head, I was like, that's really weird. Like, I'm the only new person in your circle. Why do you feel the need to say that? And I don't do competition. I just kind of go into spaces where I'm welcome. And, you know, I express myself, or I, you know, hang out with my friends, or, you know, I do the things I usually do. I'm into makeup, I'm into fashion, I'm into YouTube, I'm into all those things. So I didn't know where that was coming from, but that was just me being myself. If we go out, I'm someone that goes above and beyond when it comes to dressing up. And that's because, again, I love doing makeup. That's literally my thing. So one thing I would notice was that anytime we would want to go out, or before we would go out, she would be on some, oh, why are you always wearing makeup? Or why do you always wear makeup when you want to go out? And I'm like, I mean, why does that bother you? Like, should that matter? That's just my thing. But she would try to make me feel insecure about it. So I did call her out on it at some point. I was like, I didn't say anything bad. I was just kind of like, I mean, I like doing makeup because it's my thing. I love it. Makeup is literally my baby. So I'm gonna do makeup because it makes me feel confident. And it is what it is. I've been doing it since high school. And I thought that kind of died there. With the guy she introduced me to, I think what happened with that was when I went out with her and her friend group a few times, every time we would go out, let's just say I would either know a guy there or a guy would try to talk to me instead of talking to the other people in the friend group. And I figured they probably already know them, so maybe that's just, it is what it is. What I didn't know was that they, I'm not going to say they, I'm going to say she took offense to it and started feeling some type of way. The reason I say this is because I had told her about a situation that I was in. And I told her because I thought we were that close and I could trust her. And the first opportunity she got, let's just say we were in a very awkward position. I was in a very awkward position where, you know, let's just say I was in a place where let's just say I was at a games night or trivia night with a guy.
Like, oh fuck, shaded in, or use some brow gel, but I don't really feel like.
I was in a trivia night with the guy she had tried to, or she had introduced me to. And she used that as an opportunity to humiliate me with stuff I told her in confidence in front of the guy. It wasn't the first time. Every other game night that we went to after that, she did the same thing. So after a while, I was just like, you know what? I don't know why I'm still trying to balance or hold on to this friendship when it's clear that this person doesn't like me, one. And then two, one thing I noticed was that every time I would come into a room where her and her other friends were, they would be laughing at stuff. And I knew it was directed at me, but I didn't want to be the person that was like, oh, you know, everything's about me, or like a Debbie Downer, that kind of thing. But you know when you've had a few people talking about you and you can feel the energy shift when you enter the room, that's exactly what it was. And one thing about me, I don't play anymore about my intuition. Once I feel that, it's like, yeah, I'm not comfortable with this. I'm not about to be walking on eggshells around you, so I'm going to cut you off. That's exactly what it was. So after she tried to humiliate me,
I think peach twist.
I do acknowledge that she showed up for me at a very vulnerable time in my life. But after she did that, I was like, you know what? This isn't somebody I can be around, because you clearly don't like it when, one, other people give me attention, be it your mom, be it the friends you have around you, be it the guys that you even introduced me to. So it's like, why have that kind of energy around me? And then two, I don't want people around me that are going to be in competition with me. And another thing, that are going to be insecure about things that maybe they don't have, or things that I have that might threaten their sense of self. If that's the case, like, I'd rather we just not be friends, or maybe we keep our friendship to a surface level, you know, acquaintanceship. I don't even know what to call it, but let's just keep it to surface level, and stay acquaintances, you know? But for the most part, I'm not gonna sit here and continue to like bash or like talk about that situation. What I am gonna talk about is, it's not the first time it's happened. It's happened with, I wanna say 3, maybe 4 other female friendships I've tried to make this year alone. And honestly, it's just put me in a place of being almost overprotective over myself as a person. It's put me in a place of not wanting to be around people that, you know, maybe have secret animosity towards me, or, you know, maybe have things that they're doing and use it as a reason to try to level the playing field with me. Like, don't do that. We all have our separate things that are going on in our lives, right? We might not be on the same, should I say, path or whatever, but there's no need for comparison. And there's no need to act weird within friendships, or to have certain expectations of people when you're not willing to reciprocate that. So I'm saying all this to say, like, if you're in this kind of situation, like, don't be afraid to be like, you know what, I need to take a step back because this isn't healthy for me. Because one thing I did realize was that And as much as I wasn't trying to do all these things, it was affecting my sense of self. I was like, is there something wrong with me that every time I try to make friends with people, automatically they either feel threatened or they feel the need to humble me? And that was my biggest problem. But yeah, that's kind of like my little PSA. So I feel like the co-wash is gonna act just as like a shampoo for the most part.
Doing that, I'm gonna plug
and I'm gonna just go in with Scala again and use that as my conditioner. And I'm gonna dry my hair, blow dry it,
So I'm just gonna do a quick
and take it to the salon and get it. But thank you so much for tuning into this video and tuning into this video. And I hope you see you
I just really like this because it smells amazing. And it's just not argan oil. I'm gonna use a little bit, and then I'm gonna go in with that. As you can see, I'm only use 1 pump, just one. I'm gonna put that back in the packaging. And I'm just gonna go over my hair really quickly. Also, I'm working on clean hands and clean hair. Clean hands because I have makeup on, and you don't want to stain blonde hair. And it's honestly best to work on this. And it's kind of wet. That way you don't get heat damage, but you don't want to oversaturate it. That way it actually holds the curl. So I'm just gonna kind of use a good amount and let that kind of sit. And I'm gonna go section by section and kind of just curl the hair. I'm not gonna do too much though. It's not like big fancy curls. I'm gonna use this. So I have this set to 410. And this is my old favorite. This is the Remington Pearl 1-inch flat iron. And I like to use this to curl my hair. So I feel like it gives more of like a wavy look. But with that, you kind of have more control over how the curls are going to look. If they're going to be bigger, they're just going to be bouncy and flowy. I try not to use too much heat. I do use just enough that it looks pretty good. I kind of like a loose curl with my hair. And I try to avoid heat damage and not going overboard. So I always use heat protectant, always, no matter what. I'm also not going to go over the top because I already kind of straightened my hair. So I don't want to do too much when it comes to that. Yeah, that one didn't make it. So if you do go in smaller sections, you're going to have a better curl. You kind of want to take your time with this. As you can see, so I'm going to do the same thing here too. I just love this, so this is perfectly beach hair. Like a beach blonde. I wish it was longer, but in a way, I'm glad it's not because I feel like this is more manageable. And I feel like longer hair would probably have more damage or it'd be harder to work with. So like I said, I'm just taking this like a loose, kind of like a loose wave. So I'm going to section this into 2 because again, you don't want this to be too big. And it does hold the curl. You flip that over. I like the direction you do this in matters. So my dots. So my curl. Okay. And I'm going to go from top to bottom now. You can see the back is just a little bit looser, but not completely. With this, I can pretty much style it how I want. And it's kind of give it a different look. Now, if you see you have any like flyaways or anything like that, you can just kind of go over the top, like that, and it's just kind of find it for you. I don't know if I do too much of that, I like where they start. Now, after doing all this, I'm just going to go in with a little bit more of that argan oil. I'm going to go in with just one more pump. Again, you can see when I try to do this, I just do a little bit. It's a lot of product that comes out when you pump, so I'm just doing this because of the flow. I don't have any trace in here whatsoever. You see, I'm just going to go on top. Here's the finished face. I really love how this came out. So I can keep this like this.
Because I really like how it looks. Thanks for coming. Or I could put it behind my ears, show my earrings, which I like that look too. So you guys tell me which look you prefer. I really think I like this though, because it makes me look more professional. Okay. Thanks for coming to my YouTube channel, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.